Westview's self-proclaimed best detective sipped her lukewarm coffee, her mind racing with thoughts of the latest mystery. It was Tuesday. Another episode of her favorite true crime podcast was playing in the background, filling the room with eerie details. The case this week, a Jane Doe found in a ditch just outside of town, her identity shrouded in mystery. No ID, no cause of death, no leads. Typical. The police were stumped, and the investigation board remained frustratingly empty. Agnes peered out her kitchen window at the dilapidated Victorian across the street, her curiosity piqued. It had stood empty since the incident, its once grand facade now a shadow of its former self. The police had searched the house but found nothing. Agnes, however, wasn't convinced. She had a hunch there was more to the story. She'd seen the way Wanda Maximoff, the woman who'd lived there, had looked at her, haunted, terrified. There was something in her eyes that spoke of untold horrors. And then there was Agatha. Agnes shuddered at the mere thought of her. Agatha Harkness, Wanda's strange neighbour, had always given Agnes the creeps. Her presence was unsettling, her behaviour even more so. Agnes grabbed her keys, her gut telling her it was time to pay another visit to the Victorian. She needed to uncover the truth, no matter how terrifying it might be. The Westview Police Department was less than thrilled with Agnes's frequent visits. Detective Jimmy Woo, bless his heart, tried to be patient. "Agnes," he sighed, "we've been over this. There's nothing to connect Wanda Maximoff's disappearance to the Jane Doe." "Then explain why I can't shake this feeling, Jimmy," Agnes pressed. There was something about the Jane Doe's description that reminded Agnes of Wanda. The auburn hair, the height, the approximate age. She left Jimmy's office with a stack of case files, determined to prove him wrong. Later that evening, Agnes's phone rang. It was Mrs. Hart, her nosy neighbour. "Agnes, someone's breaking into the old Maximoff place." Agnes thanked Mrs. Hart and grabbed her trusty flashlight. She arrived at the Victorian just as a shadowy figure emerged from the front door. "Hold it right there!" she shouted. "You're under citizen's arrest!" The figure froze. It was a teenager, a boy barely old enough to shave. He mumbled something about the road and finding it. She ordered him to sit on the porch steps while she called the police. The arrival of the police was quickly overshadowed by the appearance of a sleek black car.
A man in a sharp suit stepped out, his expression unreadable.
He introduced himself as Agent Rio Vidal, FBI. Agent Vidal, it turned out, was there about the Jane Doe case. Agnes seized the moment and told him everything.
"Tell me, Mrs. O'Connor, do you ever feel like you're living someone else's life?"
What happened next was a blur to Agnes. She felt as if she was drowning in a sea of fragmented memories, each one more intense and disorienting than the last. Memories, vivid and terrifying, flooded her mind. They came in waves, crashing over her, leaving her gasping for breath.
She remembered who she was. Agatha Harkness, a witch of immense power. The realization brought a surge of strength and clarity. She remembered Wanda as the Scarlet Witch. The memories of their encounters, both good and bad, played like a movie in her mind. And she remembered him, the man who had imprisoned her. The memories of his cruelty were etched deeply in her mind.
She didn't know his real name, but she knew his face. It was a face she could never forget. It was the face of Agent Rio Vidal. His cold, calculating eyes haunted her every thought.
He confirmed her suspicions about the Jane Doe. It was Wanda. He'd killed her. The revelation hit her like a ton of bricks.
Rage coursed through Agatha. It was a burning, all-consuming fire that threatened to engulf her. She would make him pay, but first she needed to bide her time. She needed to plan her next move carefully, ensuring that when the time came, she would be ready to strike. Agatha knew she was in a precarious position. Her powers were gone, stolen by the man who now stood before her. Vidal, a man known for his ruthlessness and cunning.
But Agatha Harkness was no damsel in distress. She was a survivor, a fighter who had faced countless challenges. "You're going to kill me anyway, so why not make it interesting? Let's see if you can handle a real challenge."
She saw a flicker of curiosity in Vidal's eyes. He was intrigued by her boldness.
"My magic is bound to this town. Kill me here and you'll never find what you're looking for. The secrets of this place will die with me."
"Very well, Agatha. You have my attention. I'll grant you a reprieve. But know this, the Salem 7 are coming for you. They won't be as merciful."
He turned to leave, then paused, glancing back at the teenager who stood trembling in the corner.
"What about him? What should I do with him? He's just a boy, after all."
Let him go. He poses no threat to us. He's of no consequence to us. Focus on the real danger.